Okay, I realise it's one day before the Premier League starts, but that means I've taken my time and I've made a much more informed decision on my Premier League predictions. Everyone else did theirs a week ago. I've got a jump on them. I've got a week ahead, which puts more pressure on me, really. However, I have thrown together my Premier League predictions for the 2020-2021 season, and with this week advantage, I should, well, hopefully get everything right. And in 9 months' time, we can come back and look at this video and then make a video called How I Predicted the Premier League Perfectly. That is the goal. That is the ultimate goal here. And please do feel free to like the video, subscribe to the channel if you want to see more real life football talk from me or football manager content, and comment section. Let me know if you think I'm right, if I'm wrong. Let me know where you think your team is going to finish this season in the Premier League. So without any further ado, let's have a look at my Premier League predictions. We'll start with the bottom of the table, working our way to the top. So in 20th position, I have, and I'm sorry to all of the fans of this club, Fulham. Now, Fulham are a really nice club, a really, really nice club. I don't think I've ever met a Fulham fan that I don't like, but I think they're going to be a bit out of their depth here. Scott Parker, he's done a fantastic job getting Fulham up through the playoffs, and as good as he's been so far, I don't think Fulham have done enough in the transfer market. I'm just looking here, Anthony Knockaert, Harrison Reed. I mean, it's not enough, is it? It's generally not enough to keep you in the Premier League. They definitely need to get some more people through the doors at Craven Cottage if they are to stand any chance of surviving this season. Overall, I think they're going to struggle to score goals. They're going to concede plenty. It's all the makings of a relegation, isn't it? So yes, I think Fulham go straight back down to the Championship. In 19th position, I have West Bromwich Albion. I see West Brom doing slightly better than Fulham this season, but obviously not by much if I've got them finishing 19th. Again, I look at their squad here and it's just meh. It's just not good enough to compete with the other teams that are going to be fighting relegation. Grady Diangana, a very good signing from West Ham, but again, it's just not enough. They haven't done enough business this summer so far. Slaven Bilic is a good manager though, and he's managed in the Premier League before, which could be an advantage. But West Brom really struggled to get over the line last season in the Championship just to get to the Premier League. They gave Brentford every opportunity to go up automatically. And there's going to be a real difference in quality between the teams they played last season and who they've got to play this season. So yeah, West Brom joined Fulham back in the Championship. In 18th, maybe controversially, I don't know, I've gone with Aston Villa. I think their season depends on one man. I think it depends on Jack Grealish. If he stays, obviously they have a better chance of staying up. If he leaves, they're in a lot of trouble. At the moment, he's still at Villa Park, and every Villa fan should be thankful for that. I thought he'd leave this summer, maybe to Man United, Arsenal, Spurs even. Just three of the clubs that I think he'd be really good at. He performed wonders for the club last season, and you've got to think, in the future, there is a big move for Jack Grealish. I'm not a big fan of the manager as well, Dean Smith. Don't know why, just not a fan. I think it helps that he's an Aston Villa fan, but I do think if they struggle in the first few months, we could well see Dean Smith sacked. And then we could even see the usual relegation candidate managers lined up to take his job. Your Sam Allardyce's, your Mark Hughes. I would say Steve Bruce, but he's in the job already. Their transfer business has been okay. Matty Cash coming in, Ollie Watkins for 28 million. Wesley should be back for Villa this season and hopefully be scoring goals for them. So you'd think going forward, they should be better. They shouldn't have to just rely on Jack Grealish. But they just about survived last season by 1 point. And a controversial goal that wasn't a goal that VAR couldn't check for some weird reason. I do think unless we see Villa have a good start to the league this season, they will be the third team relegated with West Brom and Fulham. In 17th place, just surviving relegation, I'm going with West Ham United. There's so much uncertainty surrounding West Ham. So much uncertainty. It annoys me and I don't even support them. Looking in from the outside, I don't know if you guys agree with me, it looks an absolute mess. The owners, do they even want to be there? They don't seem to know what they're doing. There's a split between the players and some of the club's hierarchy in terms of decisions, transfers and things going on. The atmosphere around the club just seems like toxic. It's not good. I wouldn't want to play there. It's not a good environment to be in, I don't think, at the moment. David Moyes, I don't think he's going to last the season. I think he gets sacked, but I do think West Ham will just survive. I mean, look at their squad. Should they really be in this position? There is an abundance of talent here. The likes of Declan Rice, Pablo Fornals, Felipe Anderson went missing last season, Michael Antonio, Sebastian Haller. For me, it didn't work brilliantly last season with these players. I think they are going to struggle again. The defence is nowhere near good enough. They leak goals left, right and centre. That needs to be addressed. But yes, I think West Ham fans are in for a very long and stressful season yet again. The club should not be in this position. In 16th place, I have Crystal Palace. Now, Crystal Palace, year after year, I think they might be dragged into a relegation battle, like not just floating outside the bottom three, like dragged into a proper relegation battle. But year after year, they seem to prove me wrong and surprise me. They do have a very experienced manager in Roy Hodgson. I think providing they keep Wilfred Zaha, who is so important for this club, they stay up. They've also signed Eze from Queen's Park Rangers, which is a really good bit of business. They do need someone like that because they do need to score more goals. Last season, I think they were the second lowest goal scorers in the league, which it's not going to be good enough season after season. So that definitely needs to improve. Perhaps not a comfortable season down at Selhurst Park, but Palace, I think they stay up. In 15th position, I have Leeds United. Marcelo Bielsa, what a guy. What a guy. I love him. I think he's great. He's been given a contract extension, which is brilliant for Leeds and for English football. I think he's a great character. Now, Leeds don't have an amazing squad, but it is significantly better, I think, than the two teams they came up with, West Brom and Fulham. I think Leeds have done well in the transfer market this summer. We haven't seen any significant outs based on last season's squad. The main man they've brought in, though, Rodrigo up front, I think that's such an underrated signing. It's such a good signing for Leeds. I think he's going to get them plenty of goals this season. He's going to be their main man up front and a key part in them staying in the Premier League. His goals, I'm sure, will fire them to A, safety, and B, 15th, apparently. They were awesome last season in the Championship. It's nice to see them back in the Premier League. I think they'll surprise a few people this season, and I wouldn't put it past them to finish higher than 15th. I wouldn't be surprised to see Leeds finish above this team that I've got in 14th, Brighton and Hove Albion. I think Brighton have enough to stay up this season. It might not be pretty, but there are worse teams in this league than Brighton. I think Graham Potter is a good manager. Brighton have actually got a decent squad. They've got Premier League experience as well. I do think, however, they need to sign a few more to make this a comfortable season. Adam Lallana, as good as that signing is, he's not going to be enough to make this a comfortable season on his own. In 13th place, I've got the Geordie boys, Newcastle United. Now, I'm a big fan of all the signings Newcastle have made this summer. It finally feels like they know what they're doing with their money and with their transfers. Callum Wilson, Ryan Fraser, Jamal Lewis, Jeff Hendrick, all players which generally make the team better. And like I said, it feels like they're being sensible with their transfers. I'm so used to looking at Newcastle's transfers and thinking, what the hell are they doing? Like, does this make sense? What sort of football style does this suit? It just baffled me year after year. I couldn't get my head around Newcastle's signings, but this summer, they've done well. I'm not sure if Steve Bruce is the man to lead Newcastle forward. He did surprise me last season, finishing 13th with the club. The thing that worries me with Newcastle, and it's been like this year after year, similar to West Ham earlier, there's so much uncertainty around the club. Takeover issues, behind the scenes issues, and this seems to be the topic of conversation with Newcastle year after year. I don't think there's a season we actually focus on Newcastle, talking about them on the football pitch. It's always something off the pitch going on with them. There's a really weird atmosphere around the club. It's been there, it's been lingering for ages. I think the best thing for everyone is Mike Ashley sells up, the club gets a new owner, and then everyone can breathe a sigh of relief and take a step forward. Things then, for Newcastle, will improve, hopefully to the point where we see them start to finish in the top 10 again, maybe get a cup win under their belt, try and push the top 6. Just above Newcastle, I have another team who play in stripes, not black and white, red and white. In 12th, I have Southampton. I really like Hasenhuttl. I think he's a great manager. I think he's completely changed the mentality of Southampton Football Club. They were flirting with relegation a few years ago, and he's come in. Fair play to the club for taking a chance on someone who's never managed in the Premier League before. He came in and he changed everything. It's been really important that Southampton have kept hold of their star striker, Danny Ings. He's obviously their number one goal threat, and he gets good service as well. He gets very good service from the rest of the team. They've clearly figured out on the training ground how to play to Ings' strengths. Otherwise, they could have been in a lot of trouble if they weren't utilising him. They had a good and comfortable season last year, finishing 11th with 52 points. They haven't done too much transfer-wise, but Southampton, the Saints, they'll be steady this season. Above Southampton, another team that play in stripes, another team that play in red and white, Sheffield United. Now, the Blades surprised everyone last season. I don't think anybody would have predicted them to have as good a season as they did. Unless you're a Sheffield United fan, of course, then you've got faith in your club. But I have to hold my hands up and say I'm one of the people that didn't think they'd be pushing near the top 10, let alone pushing for a European place for large parts of the season. But they've got a great togetherness at the club, a great team spirit. Chris Wilder seems like an absolute perfect fit for them. He was superb last season. I think Sheffield United will be very comfortable again this season in 11th. They've also kept the bulk of their squad together. Dean Henderson obviously gone back to Manchester United, but they've replaced him with Aaron Ramsdale from Bournemouth, who it's not a bad replacement, is it? But yes, Sheffield United, they'll be fine. So that is the bottom half of the Premier League finish. We move on to the top 10, and the team that I think will finish in 10th, the Claret and Blues of Burnley. Now, Burnley came out of absolutely nowhere last season and finished 10th. Only 5 points off the top 6. Five. I mean, they sort of let everyone else above them, Wolves, Leicester, Arsenal, Spurs, sort of fight it out, have all the attention on them, and they just snuck up out of nowhere and had a really good season. They've lost Jeff Hendrick on a free transfer, but they should have more than enough to have a very productive season again, and hopefully it'd be nice to see them have a good cup run, Burnley. If they were to lose any more first team players, for example, James Tarkowski, then this position could be lower. They could struggle a little bit, especially if they don't reinvest that money. It would be nice to see Burnley do something in the transfer market. But I think Burnley fans will be very happy with another top 10 finish and having a manager like Sean Dyche, who I think is one of the most underrated managers in the Premier League. He'll definitely get you there. Just above Burnley in 9th place, I've got the Foxes, Leicester City. Now, Leicester, towards the end of last season after the restart, they just blew it, didn't they? They blew their chance of playing in the Champions League. They threw it away. Their form was awful. However, on the whole, finishing 5th last season, it's not bad. Let's not forget that. I really do like Leicester. I like Brendan Rodgers. I think they've got a fantastic squad in Leicester, some very, very talented footballers. They've lost Ben Chilwell to Chelsea, but they've got a lot of money from that transfer. If they can reinvest that into the team and reinvest that well, they can definitely prove me wrong here and finish higher. Of course, it may depend on how well they can juggle the Premier League and the Europa League as well. This is apparently the Premier League and the Europa League. In 8th position, I have the blue half of Merseyside, Everton. Now, it's Everton's first full season with Carlo Ancelotti in charge, and I think it will be a very, very successful one. I'm a big fan of Ancelotti. I think Everton have got an absolutely superb manager there. He's been successful everywhere he's been. Everywhere he's managed, he's won things, and he carries weight in terms of transfers and attracting people to the club. They've made some amazing signings this summer as well and completely revamped their midfield. Allen, I think, is a superb signing for Everton. James Rodriguez, Doucouré in there as well. I really do like the transfer business Everton and Ancelotti have done. They have no European football, which could give them an advantage over the teams in and around them. But I think they finish 8th. I wouldn't be surprised, though, if they finished higher. In 7th position, I have Wolves. Now, I really, really like this Wolves team, and I think they could easily push to finish in the top 6. They've just signed Fabio Silva as well for a club record fee, which is an absolute superb piece of business. And they've proven last season that they can hang in the Premier League and the Europa League. They can juggle both competitions and do quite well. So I do expect them to have an even better handle on this season. They have a manager who knows exactly what he's doing, exactly how he wants to play. A very together club, all focused on the same goal, it seems. Since they came back to the Premier League a few years ago, season after season, year after year, it's been constant improvement from Wolves, and I'm expecting that to continue again this season. I mean, look at some of their players: Conor Cody, Ruben Neves, Adama Traore, Raul Jimenez, Fabio Silva, who we mentioned last season. I'm sure I'm missing a few as well, but they have quality throughout their team, and they could very well be the team that consistently breaks into the original top 6 now, providing they can keep hold of these better players and hope they don't get poached by bigger clubs. Okay, we move on to the top 6, and in 6th position, I've got Spurs. Now, I don't know what to think about Spurs. I really don't. They've had some really good teams the past 5 or 6 years, some really good teams. And I think they've missed a big opportunity to take the next step. They just didn't invest enough money. I think it's as simple as that. If they'd have spent millions in the past few years, we could be looking at Spurs as a genuine title contender now. I mean, they do still have some very good players, and I'm sure you can rely on the likes of Kane, Son, Ali's in there as well. But they do have a lot of pieces that can be improved upon now. There's a lot of unknowns in their team. I mean, I think they need a left back. What are they doing with Ryan Sessegnon since he signed? Is he going to be the man to start there this season and fight it out with Ben Davies? How good is the defence overall? Hugo Lloris, quite error prone now. Perhaps not the keeper he once was. Ndombele had a really indifferent first season. I don't think he settled well. Perhaps he needed that year just to get his feet under the table. Do we see him improve this year? Have Spurs got the options at central midfield to really, put together a challenge for the top 4 or the title at the moment? Their transfers, I'm looking at them here. I mean, Højbjerg, Doherty, Joe Hart, they're decent squad players, but are they really going to take Spurs to the next level? I know you need a squad to win, but I'd expect Jose Mourinho to be attracting better quality. If I was a Spurs fan, honestly, I'd be happy just to win a trophy this season. Whether it's the Carabao Cup or the Capital One Cup or whatever name it's got this year, the FA Cup, the Europa League, it's been nearly 13 years since Spurs won a trophy. Maybe that will be the thing that allows Spurs to really kick on. But yeah, domestically in the Premier League, I've got Spurs in 6th. In 5th place, I've got a team very close to Spurs. They're North London rivals, Arsenal. Now, I'm an Arsenal fan, so I'm not sure what to make about finishing 5th this season. Honestly, I'd probably take it, just because the team feels like it's in transition and it's Arteta's first full season in charge at the club. However, Arteta, I think he's perfect for the club. Absolutely perfect. The whole vibe around the club has changed since his arrival. It's improved. Like, he's brought a winning mentality with the FA Cup and the Community Shield. We will count it. We'll count that as a trophy. Is it a trophy? It's a shield, isn't it? Does a shield count as a trophy? I don't know. Regardless, he's brought a winning mentality to the club. Everyone seems motivated, everyone seems together, everyone seems driven, and it feels like much more of a team and a collective unit than recent years. I mean, they've signed Gabriel, Saliba's back on loan as well. We'll give that time to gel, but a new look centre-back pairing is good for Arsenal. Dani Ceballos back on loan, Granit Xhaka playing much better. I still think Arteta needs a few more transfer windows just to get the squad exactly how he'd like. But please, please, can somebody help Aubameyang, please? I mean, he does so much for the club. He's a team leader. He's the club captain. He does so much for Arsenal. And he does get good service. He gets such good service from the players behind him, which allow him to score so many goals. But this season, the likes of Lacazette, Nketiah, Martinelli, Pepe, Willian, you boys need to step up and take some of the pressure off this man. But yes, I wouldn't be surprised if Arteta does get Arsenal into the top 4. I just think it's a season too soon and they finish 5th. So those clubs just missing out as we move on to the top 4. And the team I have finishing in 4th is Manchester United. Now, I think the fight for 4th will be very close, but ultimately, I think United have a better squad than Arsenal and Spurs. Bruno Fernandes, when he signed, his first few months at the club were absolutely brilliant. What an impact he had. Hopefully, he'll be better next season. He's had his settling in period and he'll be able to kick on. You'd hope Pogba is back and can slot in next to him. Donny van der Beek as well, a very, very good signing for United. I mean, you have the likes of Greenwood, who had a breakout year last season, Martial, Rashford, Jesse Lingard. Going forward, they are fine. I do still think they need a few players to get them in the talk of a title again. Jadon Sancho was rumoured all summer. Doesn't look like that's going to happen now. I'm not sure what they're doing with their goalkeeper situation. David De Gea, he's been quite error-prone recently. When I say recently, I mean the last few seasons. Is Henderson going to start? They haven't loaned him out this season, and they've given him a new contract. I think in the long term, he is their man, and I think this season is De Gea's last at Old Trafford. But yeah, I think going forward, they're okay. Defensively, they could be a little bit better. They're not the complete package yet, but I think they will have enough to finish in the top 4. In 3rd place, and I think this will be a very comfortable 3rd place, I have Chelsea. It's been like watching the Chelsea of old, hasn't it? Splashing cash left, right and centre. They have strengthened, to be fair. They have strengthened very, very well this summer. Everywhere they've needed to, they've made superb upgrades. There's so much creativity, experience, youth in their side now. They've got a really nice mix there. I mean, the transfers in, Werner, Ziyech, Havertz, Thiago Silva, Chilwell, just superb, superb business. Pulisic hit a nice run of form towards the end of last season. Mason Mount, Tammy Abraham had good seasons as well. On paper, they look like a scary squad again. We'll see how quickly it gels on the pitch though. A few people have mentioned their defence isn't that good, but I beg to differ. They finally signed a left back, a very good left back in Ben Chilwell. They've got Thiago Silva in. Azpilicueta, still a very good player. They've got an abundance of decent centre-backs here. I don't think it's as bad as people are making out, but if they were to sign one more world-class centre-back, for example, Koulibaly, I think then I'd be putting them well in the title conversation. The one thing they do need to sort out is their goalkeeper situation, because I have no idea what is going on there. Possibly a season too soon to challenge for the league for this new look Chelsea side, but they will be very comfortably in the top 4 and 3rd. They will finish 3rd. Which brings us on to the top 2, and in 2nd place, I have Manchester City. Now, City finished 18 points behind Liverpool last season, which is That's a lot to make up going into this season. David Silva has left, Aguero's getting older. I don't know if Jesus is the man to lead the line up front for them and lead them to a Premier League title. I know they got Nathan Ake, Ferran Torres, but the one man they didn't sign, Lionel Messi. If they got Messi, I mean, I'd be so happy just to see him in the Premier League. But if they did sign Messi, I would have picked them to win the league. He, in my opinion, is the GOAT, the best ever. I think a reunion with him and Pep, it would have been absolutely perfect. It would have been a pleasure to see. But because they didn't get Messi, I don't think they have enough to close the gap that will win them the league this season. They'll still be competitive though, which is... that's good. We know how Pep plays, we know his game plan, and I think other teams do, and I think they're going to be well prepared for City next season. You've got to think as well, they're going to be hurting from that Champions League exit against Lyon. That was a chance last season to win that competition. They're going to want to put that right. So what are they going to focus on? The Premier League, the Champions League? It's going to be hard to juggle them both. I don't think they're finished in the transfer window. I don't think their business is complete, but unless they sign a world-class player that really takes them to the next level and makes a massive difference, they're not winning the league this year. They will finish second, which means in first place, the champions of the Premier League will be Liverpool. Like we said, they finished 18 points clear of Man City last season. They're not going to have many challengers getting close to them again this season. I feel like Liverpool, they're just a machine at the moment. They're just going to keep going and keep going and keep going. They're going to steamroll their way through everyone. And it's going to take something really special to stop them over the course of a season. Maybe the odd game here or there they'll lose, but over 38 games... forget about it. They haven't lost any key players. They've arguably got the best squad in world football at the moment. Thiago might be joining that as well. I mean, it's just a recipe for victory. They may not be as good as they were last season, because last season in the league, they were awesome, but they're still going to be really good. I think Liverpool have been the most consistent team in the Premier League the past few seasons. It's not easy to retain the Premier League. It's not. But I think they're going to want to owe their fans a proper trophy celebration, considering they didn't really get one at Anfield last season. Plus, like we said, City, Champions League, you don't know what their focus is going to be on. I really like Jurgen Klopp. I think him and Liverpool are perfect for each other. I think he's great for the Premier League. And I think this season they retain their title and are crowned Premier League champions. And that is it. My Premier League predictions for this coming season. Liverpool win the league. Man City, Chelsea and Man United round out the top four. Arsenal and Spurs finish in the top six. Aston Villa, West Brom and Fulham get relegated. If you've enjoyed the video, please do drop a like. If you want to see more content like this or Football Manager content, please do subscribe to the channel. And comment section, let me know if I've got things right, if I've got things wrong. Where do you think your club is going to finish this season? Is there anything that I've got really wrong that you think I should have changed? Let me know. I'm intrigued. I'm very intrigued. Let's talk about it. Let's have a friendly debate. And I look forward to seeing you all again in 9 months when we do the video titled How I Predicted the Premier League Perfectly. Take care. Have a good season. Goodbye.